The wind sweeps across the open fields of Heartland, whispering through the tall grass as if it carries something no one dares to say out loud. In a place where trust means everything, silence can be the heaviest burden of all. A secret once buried has started to surface again, and before the sun sets over Hudson, someone's world will quietly begin to change. Morning light spills across the ranch, painting everything in soft gold. Amy stands by the barn, brushing the mane of her horse, Spartan. Her movements are calm, but her thoughts are far away. There's peace on the outside, yet a weight presses on her heart, a quiet feeling that something is not right. The camera moves slowly across the familiar landscape, the ranch house, the corral, the hills that hold the stories of the Fleming family. It feels safe, but under that peace lies tension waiting to rise. Jack walks toward Amy, carrying 2 cups of coffee. His face, marked by years of wisdom and worry, softens when he looks at her. He can sense when she's holding something back. He doesn't need words to see it. Amy takes the cup, smiles faintly, and looks away. She knows he's watching her, but she's not ready to talk. The secret she holds isn't dangerous, but it's powerful, something that could change how they all see Marion, her late mother. Inside the house, Lisa prepares breakfast, humming quietly. Lou rushes around, late for a meeting, talking about community issues and her latest mayoral challenge. The house feels alive, full of voices and movement, yet Amy feels detached from it all. Every laugh and conversation feels distant, as if she's standing behind a wall of glass. She wants to join in, but her thoughts keep drifting to the letter she found the night before, a letter from her mother that was never meant to be opened. As Amy steps back outside, the sound of horses fills the air again. The ranch is a place of healing, but healing can't begin without truth. She remembers her mother's handwriting on the old paper, the words that hinted at something hidden long before she was born. Maybe a promise, maybe a confession, she's not sure yet. But she knows Jack must have known something too. That's what makes it so hard to face him. The sun rises higher, and shadows stretch across the land. Amy looks toward the horizon where the fields meet the sky, and for a moment, she closes her eyes. The wind seems to whisper again, soft but persistent, reminding her that no secret can stay buried forever. A horse neighs in the distance, breaking the silence. It feels like a signal, a sign that what's coming next will test everything she believes about family, love, and truth. The peace of the morning feels fragile now. Amy mounts Spartan and rides out into the fields, as if she can outrun her thoughts. The camera follows her from behind, dust rising under the hooves, the sky opening wide. Her voice, calm yet trembling, breaks through the quiet in a low narration. Sometimes, the truth doesn't wait for you to be ready. It finds you whether you want it or not. The scene fades slowly, leaving behind the golden light, the quiet ranch, and the letter that still rests hidden inside Amy's jacket, the secret that will soon pull every heart at Heartland into a storm they never saw coming. The afternoon sun leans heavy over Heartland, casting long shadows across the open fields. The horses graze quietly, unaware of the storm that brews behind Amy's calm expression. She stands near the old fence, her hands resting on the worn wood, staring at the folded letter tucked in her pocket. That small piece of paper feels heavier than anything she's ever carried. It's not just ink and words, it's truth. A truth that could reshape everything she thought she knew about her family. Amy's voice trembles as she reads it again under her breath. The letter speaks of choices, regrets, and a love her mother once kept hidden. Marion had written about a time before Amy was born, about someone who helped her through a dark chapter, someone whose name Amy barely recognizes. The tone of the letter is tender, filled with emotion, but there's a final line that makes Amy's heart race. One day, you'll understand why some secrets are worth keeping. Amy folds it slowly, her mind spinning. Why would her mother hide this? What would Jack say if he knew? The memory of her grandfather's steady voice echoes in her mind. Truth keeps a family strong. Yet here she stands, unsure if revealing it might tear that same family apart. As she walks toward the barn, her boots press against the dry earth. Each step feels heavier than the last. She wants to talk to Jack, to ask him directly, but fear stops her. What if he already knows? What if this letter is a wound he buried long ago? She pictures his face, the pain in his eyes whenever Marian's name comes up, and she hesitates. The silence between them feels safer than the truth waiting to break it. Ty's old workbench still sits in the corner of the barn. Amy runs her hand across it, brushing off the dust. Memories flood back: laughter, long talks, quiet evenings when everything made sense. Now, nothing feels simple. Her life has always been about healing horses, people, hearts. But this time, it's her own heart that needs mending. And no amount of kindness can fix what she's about to uncover. The barn door creaks open, and Lisa steps inside. Her soft smile fades when she sees Amy's expression. "You look like you've seen a ghost," she says gently. Amy forces a small smile, shaking her head. "Just thinking." Lisa doesn't press her, but her eyes linger. She's seen that look before, the weight of a secret too big to carry alone. Before leaving, she places a comforting hand on Amy's shoulder and whispers, "Whatever it is, don't let it fester. Secrets grow roots." Amy nods but says nothing. As the barn empties, she sinks onto a bale of hay, clutching the letter to her chest. The light filters through the cracks in the walls, casting thin lines across her face, light and shadow dancing like truth and lies. Her voice breaks through the quiet once more. "Maybe keeping a secret isn't about protecting others. Maybe it's about protecting yourself." Outside, the wind picks up again. Dust swirls, leaves scatter, and a storm begins to form in the distance. Amy stands, determination flickering in her eyes. The time for silence is ending. She doesn't know how Jack will react, but she knows one thing for sure: this letter can't stay hidden forever. The camera pulls back, showing her standing alone in the doorway of the barn, her figure framed against the wide, restless sky. The faint rumble of thunder rolls across the land as the screen fades to black, a quiet promise that the truth is coming. And with it, consequences no one is ready for. The evening sky burns orange and red, spilling color across the land like fire spreading through dry grass. Jack leans against the railing of the porch, hat tilted low, watching the sun sink behind the hills. It's quiet, too quiet, the kind of quiet that comes before something breaks. The air feels heavier than usual, thick with tension and old memories that never quite fade. He takes a long sip of his coffee, though it's gone cold hours ago. He's not thinking about the taste. He's thinking about Tim. In the distance, the sound of a truck engine cuts through the calm. Jack doesn't move, but his jaw tightens. Tim's here. The two men have stood on opposite sides of 1,000 arguments, brothers in everything but peace. They share the same land, the same love for family, and yet somehow always find themselves divided by pride. Tonight, that divide feels wider than ever. Tim steps out of the truck, his boots crunching against the gravel. He looks tired, worn down by more than just ranch work. There's something in his eyes, guilt mixed with frustration. He walks toward Jack with a kind of nervous energy, like a man rehearsing a speech he knows won't be received well. Jack doesn't say a word. He just keeps looking at the horizon. "Jack," Tim starts, his voice low. "We need to talk, do we?" Jack answers without turning. "Seems like we've been doing that for years and never get anywhere." The silence stretches between them like a rope pulled too tight. Neither man wants to be the first to let go. Tim shifts his weight, searching for the right words, but Jack's stillness says everything he already knows. Something's off. "I made a deal," Tim finally says. "A small partnership, it's nothing bad. Just a business move. Might help both our operations." Jack turns, his expression unreadable. "A deal? Without telling me?" Tim's voice rises a little, defensive. "It wasn't about hiding anything. I just wanted to be sure it worked out before dragging everyone into it." Jack laughs under his breath. "But there's no humor in it." "That's what you always say, Tim. You do things your way, make a mess, and expect me to clean it up when it falls apart." The tension hits hard. Tim steps closer, his temper flickering. "I'm not that man anymore, Jack. I'm trying to make things right. But every time I take a step forward, you act like I'm still the guy who let everyone down." Jack's eyes flash, but he doesn't raise his voice. "You want to make things right? Then stop making decisions behind closed doors." The air between them grows heavy. It's not just about business, it never is. It's about years of unspoken resentment, regret, and pride that neither one can let go of. Behind their anger lies something softer, the pain of two men who've both lost too much and are still trying to protect what's left. Tim sighs, running a hand through his hair. You think I don't carry guilt, Jack? I live with it every day. You just don't see it. Jack finally looks at him, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Then stop letting your pride speak for you. A long pause follows, the kind that feels endless. A horse neighs in the distance, breaking the silence for a moment. Then Tim shakes his head, frustrated. You'll never change, Jack. You'll always see me as the mistake. He turns and walks back toward his truck, but his steps are slow, like he's hoping Jack will call him back. Jack doesn't. He just watches, the ache behind his stern eyes hidden by the fading light as the truck disappears down the dirt road. Jack mutters softly, almost to himself. Some secrets don't just stay buried, they build fences between people who should be standing side by side. He tips his hat lower, the sky now darkening above him. The porch light flickers on, casting a lonely glow over the ranch. The night has settled in, but inside both men, something restless still burns, the kind of hurt that only truth can heal. If they ever find the courage to speak it. The storm has been waiting all day. Now, as night falls, it finally comes alive. Wind howls through the valley, rattling the barn doors and bending the trees. The first drops of rain hit the ground like tiny sparks, each one echoing the tension that's been building inside Heartland. Amy stands in the doorway, the letter clutched tightly in her hand. Her fingers shake, not from the cold, but from the weight of what she's about to do. Jack is in the living room, firelight flickering across his face. He looks older tonight, not from age, but from the heaviness of memories that never fade. Amy steps inside, her boots leaving wet marks on the wooden floor. The sound makes Jack turn, his eyes softening when he sees her. But one look at her face and he knows this isn't just another talk. This is the moment they've both been avoiding. She walks closer, her voice trembling but steady enough to carry through the crackling fire. I found something, she says. It's about Mom. Jack's expression shifts. A flicker of worry passes through his eyes before he masks it with calm. What do you mean? He asks, his voice low, almost careful. Amy places the folded letter on the table between them. This was hidden in one of her old boxes under the photo albums. I don't think she meant for anyone to find it. Jack hesitates before picking it up. The silence stretches as he unfolds the paper, his eyes scanning the words that his daughter has already memorized. The room feels smaller now, the air heavier. He doesn't say anything at first, but Amy sees the emotion rise behind his calm, the kind of ache that comes from remembering love, loss, and mistakes long buried. When he finally speaks, his voice is rough. I knew about this, he admits, but I thought it was better left in the past. Amy's breath catches. You knew? Jack nods slowly, eyes glistening with regret. Your mother went through more than you'll ever know. She made choices that haunted her, but she loved you more than anything. Some truths don't set you free, they just hurt everyone around you. Amy shakes her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. But we can't just keep pretending. Don't you think the truth matters? Jack looks at her, his voice softening. It does, but sometimes protecting someone you love means carrying a truth they don't need to bear. Marian didn't want you to remember her for her mistakes. She wanted you to remember her strength. The thunder rolls closer, the windows shuddering with each flash of lightning. Amy wipes her tears, her voice breaking. I just wish she'd trusted me enough to tell me herself. Jack steps closer, placing his hand gently on her shoulder. She trusted me to protect you. That was her way of telling you she loved you. Maybe that's what this secret really was, not shame, but love in disguise. For a moment, neither of them speak. The fire crackles softly. The storm outside rages on, but inside the house, something begins to settle. The air feels lighter, even as the truth lingers between them. Amy exhales slowly, finally letting go of the pain she didn't know she was holding. Jack gives her a small, broken smile. Your mom always said the truth finds its way home. Looks like she was right. Amy nods, her voice barely a whisper. Maybe now. It finally has. The rain begins to ease. The thunder fades into the distance. Through the window, a faint glow appears on the horizon, the first sign of dawn. Amy looks out, The letter still on the table, but no longer heavy in her heart. The secret that once divided them has become the bridge that brings them back together. Outside, Spartan snorts softly in the corral, restless but calm. The ranch breathes again, alive and whole. Amy turns back to Jack, her eyes red but peaceful. "Thank you," she says quietly. Jack just nods, his voice thick with emotion. "No, Amy, thank you for being brave enough to open what I couldn't." As the camera pulls back, the two of them stand together in the soft light, framed by the warmth of the fire. The storm is over, and for the first time in a long while, Heartland feels like home again. Morning rises softly over Heartland, washing the land in a pale golden light. The storm has passed, leaving behind the smell of rain and the sound of dripping water from the barn roof. The world feels clean again, as if the night's chaos has been gently erased. The horses move quietly through the damp grass, their breath visible in the cool air. Everything looks the same, yet nothing truly is. Something inside this family has shifted, not broken, but changed in a way that feels honest. Amy walks across the yard, her boots sinking slightly into the wet earth. The sky above her is wide and calm, streaked with pink and blue. For the first time in a long while, she feels light. The letter is gone now, tucked away in a drawer, not forgotten but no longer heavy. The truth has found its place, no longer haunting her, but reminding her that love can survive even when it's tested by secrets. Jack is already by the barn, repairing the fence that the storm knocked down. He works quietly, his rhythm steady and strong, like the heartbeat of Heartland itself. When Amy joins him, she doesn't speak at first. She simply picks up a hammer and starts helping. They work side by side, the silence between them no longer sharp but soft, a silence that understands. After a while, Jack glances at her and says, "You did good, Amy. Your mom would have been proud." His voice is rough, but there's peace in it. Amy looks up, her eyes gentle. "You think so?" "I know so," he says simply, tightening a nail before stepping back to watch the sunrise. "She always wanted you to be strong, not because life would be easy, but because it wouldn't." Amy smiles faintly, remembering the words her mother once wrote in an old journal. Strength isn't about holding on, it's about knowing when to let go. She understands them now. The truth didn't destroy her family. It made them stronger, not because it was easy to face, but because they faced it together. Inside the house, Lou sets out breakfast, humming softly. Lisa pours coffee and looks out the window, watching Jack and Amy in the distance. There's a warmth in her smile, quiet pride mixed with relief. Tim walks in, a little hesitant, his expression softer than usual. He places a folder on the table and says, "No more surprises. From now on, everything's open." Lou raises an eyebrow, half amused, half impressed. Maybe this time, he means it. The morning moves slowly, filled with small gestures, laughter that feels natural again, the clatter of dishes, the smell of pancakes, the sound of horses outside. Life at Heartland continues, steady as ever. But beneath the routine, there's something new. Understanding. Later, Amy stands by the corral, watching Lindy play with the foal. The child's laughter rings through the air, pure and bright. Amy kneels down beside her and says quietly, "You know, sweetheart, sometimes grown-ups keep secrets because they think it'll protect the people they love. But the truth has a way of finding its way home. Always." Lindy nods in that simple, innocent way that only children can. "So it's like a lost horse," she says. Amy smiles, eyes glistening. "Exactly like that." The camera lingers on them, the sunlight soft on their faces, the wind carrying the sound of the horses across the fields. The ranch, once shadowed by silence, now feels alive again. As the screen fades, Amy's voice echoes softly, almost like a thought carried by the breeze. Secrets can divide us, but when the truth finally comes, it doesn't just heal, it teaches us how to love again. The final image holds on the Heartland sign, shining gently in the morning light, before fading to black. Evening returns to Heartland like a quiet sigh. The last rays of sunlight stretch across the fields, glinting off the puddles left by the morning rain. The day has moved slowly, peacefully, the kind of peace that only comes after truth has been spoken. The land hums with calm. Birds settle on the fences. The horses graze under the fading light. And somewhere in the distance, the soft whinny of a foal echoes like a song of new beginnings. Amy sits on the porch steps, a mug of tea warming her hands. She looks out at the open land, her mother's land, her family's home. The air is cool, filled with the scent of wet earth and hay. For the first time in days, her chest doesn't feel heavy. The truth has changed her. Yes, but not in the way she feared. It didn't take something from her, it gave her clarity. She now understands her mother not as a figure of perfection, but as a woman who loved deeply, stumbled, and still found her way back to the light. Inside the house, laughter rises, Lou's voice teasing Tim about his so-called business deal. Lisa trying to hide her smile as Jack pretends not to listen. The family feels whole again, each of them carrying their own scars but choosing to stay close anyway. That's what makes Heartland what it is, not the open sky or the endless fields, but the people who keep coming back no matter how many storms pass through their lives. Amy's voice, calm and reflective, fills the air, her thoughts shared not just for herself, but for everyone who's ever held on to something too long. Secrets have their way of changing us. Sometimes they protect, sometimes they destroy. But when we finally let them go, we remember what really matters: love, forgiveness, and the courage to face what's real. She takes a slow breath, looking toward the barn where Spartan stands quietly, his dark coat shining in the low light. That horse has seen everything: her pain, her growth, her healing. She smiles softly. "We've been through worse," she whispers to him, her voice barely carried by the wind. Spartan snorts as if he understands. The sky deepens into purple and gold. The camera rises slowly, showing the vast beauty of Heartland from above: the rolling fields, the river glinting like glass, the old barn standing strong against time. The ranch looks timeless, almost sacred, as if it's holding the stories of everyone who's ever lived there. Amy stands, setting her mug aside. She watches the horizon, where the first stars begin to appear, tiny sparks of light scattered across the wide Alberta sky. Her voice comes again, softer this time, a whisper to the night. "We can't control what's hidden in the past, but we can choose what we do with the truth once we find it." A quiet melody begins to play, gentle guitar, slow and hopeful. The camera moves across the ranch, passing through the glowing windows where laughter still flickers inside. The warmth of family lingers even as darkness falls. Before the screen fades to black, Amy's final words echo through the silence. "In the end, secrets don't belong to the shadows. They belong to the light, where love can finally see them for what they are." The music swells softly, then fades with the image of the Heartland sign standing proud under the starlit sky. A single line appears on screen. "Next on Heartland, when trust is tested again, will honesty be enough to hold them together?" The screen fades completely, leaving behind only the sound of the wind over the open plains, gentle, endless, and free. The night at Heartland stretches wide and endless. The ranch sleeps under a blanket of silver moonlight, the soft rustle of the trees the only sound left. It's peaceful, yet there's something stirring in the air, the quiet promise that peace never lasts forever. The camera glides slowly over the land, the barn standing tall, the house glowing softly through its windows, the horses resting under the stars. The storm has passed, but the story isn't finished. Inside the house, the family has gone to bed. The laughter that filled the walls just hours ago now lives only as a memory echoing through the stillness. A clock ticks softly in the background. On the kitchen table, the letter once a burden, now folded neatly, lies beside a photo of Marion smiling with Amy as a child. The camera lingers on it for a moment, a symbol of what's been faced and what's been forgiven. Outside, Amy steps out once more, wrapped in her old denim jacket. The night air bites at her skin, but she doesn't mind. She looks out at the ranch and smiles faintly. The truth has found its place. The silence has turned into peace. She breathes in deeply, her eyes reflecting the starlight, and whispers as if speaking to her mother, "I get it now. Love isn't perfect, but it's real." And that's enough. As she walks toward the barn, a shadow moves in the distance, faint, almost unseen. A truck's headlights flash briefly before disappearing down the dirt road. Amy pauses, frowning slightly. Something about it feels off. She tilts her head, as if listening to the land itself. The moment hangs quiet and certain, hinting that not every secret has been uncovered yet. The sound of a door creaking open breaks the silence. Jack appears behind her, his voice soft but alert. "You saw that too?" Amy nods slowly, her eyes narrowing toward the horizon. He steps beside her, resting a hand on her shoulder. "Then maybe," he says quietly, "our story's not done after all." The camera pulls back, rising above them both as the wind picks up again. The ranch stretches out below, beautiful still, but carrying something new in its shadows. A soft instrumental theme swells, bittersweet and full of mystery. Amy's voice returns, calm yet haunting, closing the episode with the same gentle power that began it. Every secret has a heartbeat. You can try to bury it, silence it, forget it, but one day, it finds a way to speak again. And when it does, all you can do is listen. The music deepens as the screen fades to black, and text appears. Heartland Season 19. Episode 3. What comes after silence? A single sound remains, the quiet neigh of a horse in the distance, fading into the wind, and then nothing but the calm hum of the prairie night.